All right, there's more names to key in on. It's portal season.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first or second listen every single day. It's a happy hour edition of the show. Ben Taylor of Auburn Opelika this morning, hanging out with us. We'll talk about Auburn's running back portal situation. But first things first, I want to talk about a name that's popped up, Zechariah Poyser.
Yes.
A defensive back at Jacksonville State.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted out earlier in the week that he is visiting 3 SEC programs, LSU, Auburn, and Florida.
You gotta think Auburn's got a leg up here, right? Out of those schools.
How much does he want to stay in the state of Alabama? I don't know. Everybody's kind of, priorities are different in the portal. But I do think he's a guy to watch. And just, for full transparency, and I posted about this at the barn, thebarnauburn.com. Go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
But talk to a Florida source.
Okay.
Florida really likes this guy, and they feel like their biggest concern, their biggest obstacle with his recruitment is Auburn. So take that for what it's worth. It sounds like Florida's recruiting him to play nickel. You can make the case that Auburn needs more guys to play nickel or safety. So take that for what it's worth. But I don't know, kind of a larger guy. I mean, I like the little bit that you can kind of find of this guy, and the fact that he's being pursued by Auburn, LSU, and Florida. It's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, because let's call it what it is. Jack State is the team that teams pay $1.5 million to come play at the place. So it's not like you got a lot of the film you have on them is pretty much some big major market team probably trying to hand them their business whenever they come to town. It's kind of interesting though. He is a Florida native, but I guess he's Florida
Wildwood, Florida,
which I have zero idea where that is. But apparently he likes it more in Alabama than he does Florida. So there's a chance there. I like his size. I always like big safeties, and so that's
6'2", 190.
Yeah, that 6'2" stands out. You got to wonder, too, if the strength and conditioning program is probably a little bit better at Auburn than it is at Jacksonville State. So if that 190 will go to 205 over the summer if he ends up signing. So I really like a 6'2", 205 safety. I mean, that's patrolling the perimeter right there. So it'll be interesting to see wherever he goes. I think he grows a little bit and probably gets better.
Yeah, Jack State's website has him listed as a redshirt freshman. And so a guy that would have multiple years to play. So next year he would be a redshirt sophomore. So he would have up to 3 seasons if he stayed in school. So we'll see what that looks like. But I like how this looks from the get-go. And that size allows you to do different things. So he moves well. And in Florida, we know that Florida's recruiting him as a nickel. I think you can make the argument for him to play nickel or safety. It looks like he played more safety, though, at Jack State.
Yes, and he had a few interceptions. So, as I said, that patrol of the perimeter on the outside.
3 picks, 8 pass breakups. You love that.
Yeah. And along with it sounds like he's not afraid to go in and stick his head in with some solo tackles as well. Just this past year, he had 47. So, these are the Zach, these are the kind of guys that I like getting because they're guys that probably did not get a look at out of high school, out of big programs like LSU and like Auburn and like Alabama and Florida and that kind of thing. So they go to a Jack State and then they just kind of stand out with 3 interceptions and 47 solo tackles, as a freshman. And then people are like, oh, wait a second. Like, I remember that guy at camp, but I didn't know that he could do that. And so then they try to steal him, from that smaller school a little later on.
Yeah, Zechariah Poyser, he was, according to Pro Football Focus, he was Jack State's second highest ranked player, scored an 80.8 defensive grade, which is very good.
Yes.
That is very, very good. And he played 808 defensive snaps last year.
He never left the field.
Insane. That's crazy.
That also means his defensive line didn't provide a lot of help for him.
Yeah, or they gave up a lot on third down. They just kind of stayed on the field a ton. But
then he'd fit right in at Auburn if that's the case. First Thursday.
Maybe so. Over 400 snaps at slot corner, 168 snaps at free safety, and then just under 200 snaps in the box. I mean, they moved him around, so he can kind of do whatever you want him to do.
Yeah.
Can do that at the SEC level. We'll see. Clearly, at least 3 teams think so because he's got 3 visits lined up, once again, to Auburn, LSU, and Florida.
Does it hurt him that you and I were talking before we came on, as Auburn got a safety coming in, a true freshman, as well as some that are already at? Does it hurt Auburn that they do have some position players kind of slotted for that spot right now?
Maybe, but I assume Florida and LSU do.
I think LSU does
as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't help, but the path to playing time is pretty clear. Like, you lose Jaron Thompson this year, and so we'll see kind of how they want to use Sylvester Smith. Is he going to be a nickel or a safety next year? There's room for other defensive backs, middle of the field defensive backs to play. So, and if I'm a defensive back, I want to play with other good defensive backs that you're going to be able to spend time with over the next few years and gel together as a unit. So once again, everybody enters the portal for different reasons, and everybody will choose their destination for different reasons. For some, it's fit. For some, it's playing time and a path to the NFL. For some, it's money. For some, it's moving closer to home, which could be the case with Poyser. We'll see if he wants to be back in the state of Florida. But everybody's got a different situation, and none of them are better than others. It just depends on what the guy wants. So we'll see. Clearly, he wants to get to the SEC, and obviously Auburn can offer them that, as can Florida and LSU. But there are snaps available at defensive back at Auburn right now.
Yeah, and the way they're able to rotate. I mean, you saw so many guys playing it last year and that rotated in and out. And he's already proven he can move around. So it may not be necessarily safety that he's at, or he may come in and depending on what kind of weight. I mean, if he's 18, 19 years old and he puts on weight, who knows if you could slide him down and he could be some sort of rover, some sort of nickel guy linebacker of sorts that. If he jumps up into that, as you said, 6'2", 190, he jumps into the 220, 225 range. You're talking about a guy that would be super impressive physically.
I'm with you. Especially in a dime situation. If you want an extra DB and kind of put him close to the line of scrimmage, I think there's a lot you could do with that. So Zechariah Poyser, the defensive back from Jacksonville State. Auburn's running. Yes.
I wonder when he's planning on making his decision.
I don't know. You never know with portal guys, because sometimes you want to be the first visit. Kyle and I talked about that on this morning's show then, but sometimes you want to be the first visit where you can kind of roll out the offer and it's let's end this right now. Here's what you're asking for. Here you go. And that kind of happened early on in the transfer portal era, where Auburn would be excited to get a guy and he'd go visit somewhere else first. And that was it.
You had coaches tell us. Coaches were telling us, they were like, we want to get them on campus first, because I hate to use the word hold them hostage, but honestly, they really could. They could basically wine them and dine them throughout the entire weekend, as well as their parents throughout the entire weekend. But I don't know. This situation seems a little different with me, Zach, and the reason it does is just because with him going to Jack State, it doesn't sound like he got a lot of love from those bigger schools. He may take all 3 visits just to be able to get his visits in that he may not have gotten whenever he was signing at the collegiate level. Yeah.
Once again, there's a million reasons why a kid may enter the portal. There's a million reasons why a kid, will pick his next school. Yep. So it's all going to be different on the individual level, and that's okay. All right, Auburn's running back situation, when you look at the portal, I think it's super interesting. And let's jump into that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Ben, can you imagine wagering anywhere other than with our friends at FanDuel?
Nope, no chance.
I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it at all. So head over to FanDuel right now, and it's the place to go for live betting. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on NFL games, college football games, NBA. Doesn't matter what it is. They've got you covered. And right now, new customers can bet $5. You get $150 in bonus bets if you win. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. That's all over at FanDuel.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Omaha Steaks. Ben, do you like meat? You love meat.
I love Omaha Steaks. I have gotten this gift 4 times in my career. Absolutely awesome. Love Omaha Steaks.
Yeah. You get different cuts of steak. You usually get a few chicken breasts in there. You also can get they have sides too that are really good. That you just like throw in the oven, like like they come like frozen as like fries or whatever, and you throw those in there. They're delicious. They're delicious.
I've gotten the best one I got is it came with like 4 fillets, 4 ribeyes, and then like 4 burgers. And I was like, this is a dream. It's absolutely awesome. Omaha Steaks. Big fan.
Yep. Hey, unforgettable gifts that are 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com right now. Plus, if you're listening to this show and use promo code COLLEGE, you can score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. So Omaha Steaks, get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. 50% off at omahasteaks.com. Use promo code COLLEGE for an extra $30 off. Insane deal. That's at omahasteaks.com. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. The everydayers know. Ben Taylor of Auburn Opelika this morning hanging out with us. The running back situation is super, super interesting. Like Jarquez Hunter is gone. We don't really know what's going on with Damari Austin, Jeremiah Cobb as we sit here having this conversation. I don't think Austin is going anywhere. I wish I was that confident with Cobb, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Jeremiah. But no official word yet for either of those guys as we sit here and record this early Tuesday afternoon. But you got Alvin Henderson coming in, but like what happens after that? So we saw on Twitter that Auburn has offered Durrell Robinson, the UConn running back, which is interesting. Former 4-star guy that ended up at UConn, an explosive player. Talked to Mark Zanetto, host of Locked on UConn. He's a really good player. They really like him. And it seems like he's getting interest from, several Power 4 schools. At the time of him tweeting out Auburn's offer, he was, I think our offer was the strongest. So we'll see if that holds and if that's the most important. But Ahmad Harvey is the other one. The ULM running back. Auburn played against them, about a month ago?
Yeah.
It's been reported that he's expected to visit Auburn next week. The issue is he's visiting Ole Miss first. And you can say what you want about Lane Kiffin. He has done a really good job at navigating and attracting talent via the portal.
He has hung his hat on it. I mean, he's
kind of become their identity, right?
Yeah, he's gotten just as excited. He's gotten Ole Miss fans just as excited about the portal as they are signing day. Yeah, and so that's become kind of his shtick, I guess you could say, as far as recruiting is. Everybody talks about the classes they sign. It's like, yeah, but just wait for the portal. Wait till you see what we get. So
sure.
I guess he does a good job of bringing him in. I will say when you look at the two, Durrell doesn't have nearly as many touches as Ahmad does. Now I do wonder if that had something to do with the offense, nor yards. But the thing that sticks out in my mind is size. He's a little over 6 feet is Durrell Robinson and averaging 6.8 yards a carry. I mean, that's not bad. So I think it's good with either. I do wonder, you talked about Alvin Henderson coming in. No word yet on where he's going or what he's doing. Omar Mapson from Auburn High also reclassified. So I don't know if he plans on playing at home or if he's going to take some visits. But
I mean, he's expected. I mean, Auburn is the clear front runner for the reclassified running back. I can't imagine a running back who is going to enroll a year early is going to be called upon often as a true freshman. His tape is solid. But it's just like, what are realistic expectations here? I don't know. Well,
when you talk about somebody like him, and I know we were talking about the other running backs, but you and I had this discussion before. Played against 7A competition. Played against a lot of basically Division I defensive linemen. In that 7A competition. So I think he's, in my opinion, maybe a little more advanced than Henderson is, just because Henderson playing in smaller competition down in Elba. But these guys clearly have done it at the collegiate level. And so I guess as you just said, Hardy going to Ole Miss kind of lets me know that he may be, Durrell has had the offer. So hopefully he chooses to come here because I think he's going to be needed at least at the first part of the season until the two freshmen kind of catch up to the game a little bit midway through the season. So he'll be used a lot. So I think either one of them that come to Auburn are going to be put into rotation and used quite a bit. I guess it just depends. I don't think Auburn gets both of them. And again, with Hardy going to Ole Miss first, we just said it before the break. You want to be first in the portal search.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've said it before. The everydayers have heard me say this, but like Ahmad Hardy is my favorite player in the portal. I think he's awesome. I think he's great. And I think he starts if he comes here. But I don't think him and Damari are that different from each other.
Okay.
And as a running back, or I guess my thoughts on like a running back room, I kind of want options. I kind of want guys that are different from each other. And I do think Durrell Robinson from UConn offers a different kind of pop than what Damari Austin does. I would almost say he's closer to like, what Jeremiah Cobb does. I think Jeremiah Cobb is better, but just as far as like their different style of backs, which I think is advantageous. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what I got a feeling the staff is going to do what they can to get Hardy, but if Hardy doesn't happen, I think Durrell Robinson does make sense, and that's why Auburn offered him.
Well, Zach, this is similar to me to the same thing that the quarterback situation with needing 2 quarterbacks. I still think you need a couple of running backs because I don't think Auburn fans understand how lucky we were this last year. Jarquez Hunter was a workhorse. He's not your prototypical, and he stayed injury free, and that just doesn't usually happen. So you're probably going to see a guy or two get banged up, nicked up, not necessarily hurt for the season, but probably a shoulder issue or an ankle issue or something where they will have to sit. So I think the more the better. Again, if you're with the reclassification, it makes you know that Auburn's clearly the front runner with Mapson out of Auburn High, but one of these guys definitely is needed, and the offer has been extended there to Robinson. But as you said, they really like Hardy. They've seen Hardy firsthand, and so they know what they're getting with Hardy. And I guess it's all about offensively what you want to do, but I don't think you get both of them.
Yeah, no, I don't think you get both of them either. I agree with that. I agree with that. All right. How can people check out everything you've got going on, Ben Taylor?
Monday through Friday, 6, 8, and 9 a.m. We do sports every morning after 7. People like you visit as well.
Sure.
As you talked about Charlie 5 from the barn, as he's on there with Top Button Tuesdays. Daryl Dapprich, one of the regulars that's on with you all the time, also visits with me. So if you guys want to catch, I ask them all a little different stuff than what you guys cover as well. So check it out, aunetwork.com, and click on the WANI logo. It comes on at 7 each morning.
Yes, and go check out thebarnauburn.com as well. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We're so close to 20,000. Help us get there by the end of the year. It would mean the world. Seriously. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.